Josephine Baker adjusted her diamond bracelet as she glided through the opulent ballroom of the German embassy in Paris, her sequined gown catching the light from crystal chandeliers. At 35 years old, she was the most famous entertainer in Europe, beloved by audiences from London to Berlin for her captivating performances and exotic beauty. But beneath the glamorous facade of the celebrated American-born French singer and dancer, Josephine harbored a secret that would have meant immediate execution if discovered. She was one of the French Resistance's most valuable intelligence operatives, using her celebrity status to gather crucial information from the highest levels of Nazi command. Born Freda Josephine MacDonald in St. Louis, Missouri in 1906, she had escaped the brutal racism of Jim Crow America at age 19, finding fame and acceptance in France that her homeland had denied her. Paris had embraced her with open arms, celebrating her talent and beauty in ways that would have been impossible in the segregated United States. By the 1930s, she had become not just an entertainer, but a symbol of artistic freedom and cultural sophistication, performing for royalty and political leaders throughout Europe. When Germany invaded France in June 1940, Josephine faced a decision that would define the rest of her life. She could have fled to neutral countries or returned to the United States, where her fame would have guaranteed safety and continued prosperity. Instead, she chose to stay in occupied France and fight back against the Nazi regime that threatened everything she had come to love about her adopted homeland. Her decision was motivated not just by loyalty to France, but by her understanding that Nazi racial policies represented the same hatred and oppression she had experienced in America. Josephine's recruitment into the French resistance had come through Captain Jacques Apte of French military intelligence, who recognized that her celebrity status provided unprecedented access to German officials who wanted to be seen with famous entertainers. Her concerts and social appearances regularly attracted high-ranking Nazi officers, SS officials, and German diplomats who viewed association with international celebrities as proof of their cultural sophistication and civilized governance. The irony of Nazi officials socializing with an African-American performer was not lost on Josephine, who understood that their willingness to overlook her racial background demonstrated the fundamental contradictions in their ideology. German officers who preached racial purity in public were eager to be photographed with her at private gatherings, creating opportunities for intelligence gathering that would have been impossible for conventional spies. What would you do if you had access to your enemy's highest circles, but discovery meant certain death? Josephine's intelligence activities began modestly in late 1940, when she started reporting on German officers' conversations overheard during her performances and social engagements. Her natural charm and apparent political innocence encouraged Nazi officials to speak freely around her, assuming that an entertainer would have little interest in military or political matters. They were catastrophically wrong in their assessment. Her breakthrough as an intelligence operative came in February 1941, when she was invited to perform at a private reception hosted by General Otto von Stülpnagel, the German military commander of occupied France. The event was attended by over 50 high-ranking Nazi officers, including several SS generals and civilian administrators responsible for implementing occupation policies throughout Western Europe. During the reception, Josephine employed techniques that Captain Apte had taught her for gathering intelligence in social settings. She engaged Nazi officers in seemingly casual conversations about their backgrounds, their families, and their military experiences, using her celebrity status to encourage them to share personal information that revealed crucial details about German military organization and personnel. More importantly, she observed interactions between different German officers, noting tensions, rivalries, and policy disagreements that provided valuable insights into Nazi decision-making processes. Her performers' training in reading audiences and understanding human psychology proved invaluable in analyzing German leadership dynamics and predicting potential conflicts within the occupation administration. The intelligence Josephine gathered at the reception exceeded Captain Optay's most optimistic expectations. She provided detailed information about German troop strengths in different regions of France, upcoming policy changes regarding civilian populations, and personal conflicts between Nazi officials that could be exploited by resistance operations. Her reports were so comprehensive and accurate that they quickly earned her recognition as one of French intelligence's most valuable assets. As her reputation within German social circles grew, Josephine received invitations to increasingly exclusive gatherings attended by the highest levels of Nazi leadership. She performed at receptions hosted by German ambassadors, SS generals, and even officials visiting from Berlin who wanted to experience Parisian cultural life under German control. Each event provided new opportunities to gather intelligence while maintaining her cover as an apolitical entertainer. Josephine's intelligence-gathering techniques became increasingly sophisticated as she gained experience in espionage work. She learned to memorize conversations verbatim, to identify important documents left carelessly on desks during social gatherings, and to recognize the significance of seemingly casual remarks about military operations and strategic planning. Her photographic memory, developed through years of memorizing complex musical arrangements and dance routines, proved invaluable for retaining detailed intelligence information until she could safely transmit it to French resistance contacts. The risks of her activities were enormous and constantly increasing. German security services were intensifying their efforts to identify resistance sympathizers, and Josephine's prominence made her particularly vulnerable to surveillance and investigation. Any mistake in maintaining her cover, any suspicious behavior or inconsistency in her performance as a loyal entertainer would result in immediate arrest, torture, and execution. But Josephine also possessed advantages that protected her from suspicion. Her fame provided plausible explanations for her extensive social contacts and frequent travel. Her reputation as an entertainer gave her legitimate reasons to attend gatherings where sensitive information might be discussed. Most importantly, German racial prejudices led many Nazi officials to underestimate her intelligence and potential for sophisticated political activity. Have you ever used people's prejudices against them to achieve your goals? Josephine's most dangerous and significant intelligence operation began in March 1941, when she was invited to tour German-occupied territories in Eastern Europe as part of a cultural exchange program designed to demonstrate Nazi Germany's appreciation for international arts. The tour would take her to Poland, Czechoslovakia, and occupied portions of the Soviet Union, providing unprecedented access to German military installations and administrative centers throughout the occupied territories. Captain Optay recognized immediately that the tour offered extraordinary intelligence-gathering opportunities, but also presented risks that could expose Josephine's espionage activities and compromise the entire French resistance network. After extensive planning and preparation, they decided to proceed with the mission, understanding that the potential intelligence benefits justified the enormous personal dangers involved. The tour began in Warsaw, where Josephine performed for German military personnel and civilian administrators managing the occupied Polish territories. The devastation she witnessed in the former Polish capital shocked her profoundly. Entire neighborhoods had been destroyed. The Jewish population had been confined to a walled ghetto under horrific conditions, and the Polish civilian population was subjected to brutal repression designed to eliminate any possibility of resistance or cultural independence. But the horror of what she observed also provided crucial intelligence about German occupation policies and their implementation throughout Eastern Europe. Josephine documented the locations of German military installations, the organization of civilian administration, and the methods being used to control occupied populations. Her reports provided French and Allied intelligence with detailed information about German capabilities and vulnerabilities in territories that were otherwise completely inaccessible to Western intelligence services. In Prague, Josephine attended receptions hosted by German officials responsible for administering the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia.
During these social gatherings, she gathered intelligence about German industrial production in occupied Czechoslovakia, transportation networks being used to support military operations, and resistance activities that were developing among Czech civilian populations. Her reports helped Allied intelligence understand the extent of German resource extraction from occupied territories and identify potential targets for sabotage operations. The most dangerous portion of her tour took Josephine into German-occupied areas of the Soviet Union, where she performed for Wehrmacht units engaged in active combat operations. The conditions were far more dangerous than anything she had experienced in Western Europe, with constant risk of Soviet military action and German security measures that were even more stringent than those in occupied France. But the intelligence opportunities were also unprecedented. Josephine observed German military operations firsthand, documenting troop strengths, equipment capabilities, and logistical problems that were affecting German combat effectiveness. Her reports provided crucial insights into German military vulnerabilities that could be exploited by Soviet forces and Allied strategic planning. Throughout the Eastern European tour, Josephine maintained perfect cover as an entertainer, focused solely on her artistic performances. She socialized with German officers, attended official receptions, and participated in propaganda events designed to demonstrate German cultural sophistication. But every conversation, every observation, and every document she glimpsed was carefully memorized and reported to French resistance contacts through elaborate communication networks. The psychological toll of maintaining her cover while witnessing Nazi atrocities was enormous. Josephine had to smile and socialize with German officials who were directly responsible for mass murder, deportations, and other war crimes. She had to appear enthusiastic about German cultural programs while documenting evidence of systematic oppression and genocide. The moral complexity of her situation required extraordinary emotional discipline and unwavering commitment to her mission. Share your thoughts in the comments below about the emotional strength required to maintain such deception while witnessing atrocities. Josephine's return to Paris in July 1941 marked the beginning of her most productive period as an intelligence operative. The information she had gathered during her Eastern European tour provided French and Allied intelligence with comprehensive insights into German military and administrative operations throughout occupied Europe. Her reports contributed to strategic planning for future Allied operations and helped identify vulnerabilities in German occupation policies. But her success also increased the risks she faced. German security services were becoming more sophisticated in their counterintelligence operations, and several high-profile arrests of resistance operatives had demonstrated that even prominent French citizens were not immune from investigation and execution. Josephine's continued access to high-level German social circles made her both invaluable as an intelligence source and increasingly vulnerable to exposure. The crisis came in September 1941, when the Gestapo arrested a French resistance operative who possessed information that could potentially compromise Josephine's activities. Under torture, the captured agent revealed details about intelligence-gathering operations at German social events, though he did not specifically identify Josephine as the source of the information.
Captain Abte warned Josephine that her cover might be compromised and offered to arrange her immediate evacuation from occupied France. But Josephine refused to abandon her intelligence work, understanding that her access to German leadership circles was irreplaceable and that the intelligence she provided was contributing directly to Allied efforts to defeat Nazi Germany. Instead of fleeing, Josephine implemented enhanced security measures designed to protect her operations while maintaining her access to German social circles. She developed new methods for communicating with resistance contacts, created additional cover identities to explain her activities, and established emergency procedures for destroying incriminating evidence if her apartment was searched by German security services. Her decision to continue her intelligence work despite the increased risks demonstrated extraordinary courage and commitment to the resistance cause. She understood that discovery would mean not just her own death, but the exposure of intelligence networks that had taken years to develop,
and the loss of crucial information that was helping Allied forces plan operations throughout occupied Europe. Josephine's most significant intelligence coup came in November 1941, when she attended a reception celebrating the first anniversary of German occupation of France. The event was held at the German embassy in Paris and attended by virtually every important Nazi official in occupied Western Europe, including several generals who had traveled from Berlin specifically for the occasion. During the reception, Josephine overheard conversations between German generals discussing upcoming military operations on the Eastern Front, including detailed information about troop deployments, supply problems, and strategic objectives for the 1942 campaign season. The intelligence she gathered provided Allied planners with crucial insights into German capabilities and intentions that would prove invaluable for coordinating support for Soviet forces. More importantly, she learned that several German officials were expressing private doubts about Germany's ability to achieve victory in the war, particularly regarding the ongoing campaign in the Soviet Union. This information provided Allied intelligence with valuable insights into German morale and decision-making processes that could be exploited through propaganda and psychological warfare operations. The intelligence Josephine provided from the anniversary reception was so detailed and accurate that it was immediately transmitted to the highest levels of Allied leadership, including British Prime Minister Churchill and American intelligence officials who were coordinating support for Soviet forces. Her reports contributed directly to strategic decisions that affected the course of the entire war. But her success at the reception also brought her closer to exposure than ever before. German security officials had begun investigating unexplained intelligence leaks from high-level social gatherings, and Josephine's consistent presence at these events was beginning to attract attention from counterintelligence specialists who were trained to identify potential security risks. Let us know in the comments what you think about risking everything when you're so close to discovery. The end of Josephine's intelligence career came in February 1942, when German security services launched a comprehensive investigation of intelligence leaks from Nazi social events. Although they never definitively identified her as the source of the security breaches, the investigation made her continued operations too dangerous to sustain. Captain Abte arranged for Josephine's evacuation from occupied France through an elaborate escape network that took her through Spain to North Africa, where she could continue supporting the Allied cause without the constant risk of capture and execution. Her departure from Paris marked the end of one of the most successful intelligence operations of World War II, conducted by an entertainer whose courage and dedication had provided crucial information that contributed to ultimate Allied victory. The intelligence Josephine gathered during her 18 months as a resistance operative filled hundreds of pages of detailed reports that provided Allied planners with comprehensive insights into German military capabilities, occupation policies, and strategic intentions. Her work contributed to successful Allied operations throughout Europe and helped save thousands of lives by providing advance warning of German military actions. After the war, Josephine's intelligence activities remained classified for decades, known only to a small number of government officials and military historians with appropriate security clearances. She returned to her entertainment career, performing throughout the world and becoming an international symbol of artistic excellence and cultural cooperation. In 1961, nearly 20 years after the end of World War II, the French government finally acknowledged Josephine's wartime service by awarding her the Croix de Guerre and the Rosette of the Resistance. The ceremony, held at Les Invalides in Paris, recognized her as one of France's most valuable intelligence operatives and honored her extraordinary courage in fighting Nazi oppression. Josephine Baker died in 1975 at age 68, having lived to see her contributions to Allied victory finally receive appropriate recognition. Her funeral in Paris was attended by thousands of admirers who remembered her as both a brilliant entertainer and a courageous fighter for freedom and human dignity. The intelligence reports Josephine compiled during her 18 months as a resistance operative are now housed in French National Archives, where they serve as a testament to the crucial role that individual courage and dedication played in defeating Nazi tyranny. Her story demonstrates that heroism often takes unexpected forms, and that sometimes the most effective warriors are those who fight with charm, intelligence, and unwavering commitment to human freedom. Today, a statue of Josephine Baker stands in the Place de la Bastille in Paris, commemorating both her artistic achievements and her service to the cause of liberty. The inscription reads simply, "Artist, patriot, fighter for freedom," a fitting tribute to a remarkable woman who used her fame and talent to help defeat one of history's most evil regimes. Josephine Baker's legacy reminds us that resistance to oppression can take many forms, and that courage is often found in the most unexpected places. Her story proves that individual actions taken at moments of extreme danger can contribute to victories that change the course of human history and preserve the values of freedom and dignity for future generations. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment to share your thoughts.